Welcome to another episode of Figuring Out with Billy Ahrens. I am Billy Ahrens, and this is my digital journal of my life and how I am figuring things out here in the Earth School. It's been a while since I've recorded a podcast. 2021 started off with flames. January was very hectic, and February too. It took a while to find my balance again because I was just busy with a lot of things, and it just threw off my entire balance, my life balance. Like, I haven't stopped taking walks. Certain things in my life just took a back seat. But I am finally back. This is episode 9, and it's entitled Love Yourself. It's basically my story on love and how I figured out how to love myself. But the journey started long ago, and at first, when you're a child, sometimes we do not know what love is. We have a vague idea, and we tend to look to our parents to figure that out, and they are example. So if you grow up in a household where people didn't really show affection to each other, I'm talking about real affection where people actually say to each other, I love you, and where people actually hug each other. You grow up tending not to know what love is, and you have to figure that shit out for yourself. Yeah, so I remember when I was very young, and there was an artist by the name of Whitney Houston, the late Whitney Houston, and she sang this song called The Greatest Love of All. And the lyrics are basically like, it says, like, learning to love yourself. It is the greatest love of all. But those are just song lyrics, and you actually have to go on a journey to actually figure out what that actually means. You have to interact with people, you have to interact with family, you have to fall in love, you have to break a few hearts. Your heart has to get broken a few times because it's all a journey. Life is just a journey, and that's I think that's where I started questioning this thing called love. I was young, and yeah, that song helped me on my journey to figuring out what love is. So with this podcast, I'm experimenting a little bit. If you do listen if you do listen to this episode on Spotify, I've included like some songs just to make this episode sound a little more exciting. I'm sure on other platforms you won't be able to hear the songs, so I'm gonna get right into it. Here is The Greatest Love by Whitney Houston. I hope the lyrics will inspire you also to start loving yourself, because when you love yourself, it is the greatest love of all. As we all know, we in the Earth School, and in the Earth School we are in a journey. You have these different stages in your life. You're a child, you're a teenager, you get to your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, and 50s, 60s, and depending on how long your life here on this earth is. And basically, I think every 10 years or every decade in your life, it's an era in your life, and we go through stuff. So when I was a teenager, I was going through the most. It wasn't easy. Yeah. It was tough because it was school that I had to deal with, the bullies in school and stuff like that. It's your parents that like don't understand you. Somehow you also don't fit in because you look awkward, and that plays on your self-esteem. And yeah, so, and you trying to figure things out, you're going through shit, your body is going through changes, you're going through puberty, you just don't feel like loving yourself. And basically, if you grew up in the hood, we have different role models, and my role models were people in the hip hop world. Basically, like Mary J. Blige was one of my role models. Puff Daddy, those were the people I looked up to, and they were my example of another possibility. Oprah was also one of my role models. Yeah, so when my self-esteem was like very, very low, this artist Mary J. Blige came along with a song called Be Happy. And that song resonated with me because I was like any other teenager out there. I was like not happy. And this one day I was watching the music video, and this sudden realization came to me when she sang these lyrics. And the lyrics are, how can I love somebody else when I can't love myself enough to know when it's time to let go? And I was like, oh, so in order to actually, the realization came, like, in order to actually love someone else or actually love other people, you kind of have to start with yourself. So you have to love yourself first before you can love somebody else. And you can look at it in a broad way. It's not about romantic love per se, it's about loving other human beings. So it is like loving your partner, loving your family, loving your friends, loving your co-workers, and loving other people. And that's where my journey of finding love and like falling in love with myself began. But the road to loving myself came with obstacles, because I had to somehow unlearn all the nonsense that I was taught when I grew up. I kind of had to set myself free from things that I was taught that didn't make sense. And as time went on, like, I found a way to love myself. So I think if we do not have teachers in the house, or if your immediate surrounding, there's no positive role models that can teach you love, we tend to go look for love outside. And especially if you're young, then you end up with the wrong crowd, you end up with the wrong people, and then you still don't find love. And always the answer always comes back to the self. You always have to start with yourself. You are the beginning point for everything. Like, the minute you start loving yourself, you are able to love other people. You are able to let other people in. I'm not saying let everybody in, because you still have to be careful. It's rough out there. But the people that genuinely wanna give that love back to you, you have to learn it starts with you. And when you love yourself fully, when you think you are the shit, other people will look at you and say, like, yes, that person has that positive vibration of love. And love is this one thing that's contagious. Like, if you love yourself and you glow, your aura is like shining bright with love, other people will feel it. So this journey of like loving yourself, it's like one of the most beautiful things ever. And you get to the point where you yourself, you find the happiness in yourself before you go looking for it in someone else. So yeah, that was one of the songs that helped me start my journey to loving myself. So I hope you enjoy this next song. It's Be Happy by Mary J. Blige, because I want everybody to be happy. Everybody out there needs to smile. Like the world just needs some positive energy. And as we navigate this earth school, we get to the point in our lives when we start to have to learn about relationships. And then we start looking for love. And we start looking for love in other people. Other people, it could be a romantic relationship. You could be looking for love with friends. You probably searching for love in other families. But I think all of us, we go through that stage where we are looking for love somewhere else because we're not getting love where we at. So yet again, with family, you find for some reason sometimes with family you don't click, and you tend to make friendship with other people, and those families welcome you, you feel loved and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we all return back to family because we don't always get what we need from other people. And like any other relationship, everything needs time and commitment. You have to actually make time to see people. You actually have to make time to be around people, and when you can't sustain that anymore, you always return home. And at the end of the day, it seems like love is always at home, and your heart is home. That's where love begins. So let me get into the part of relationships. Through the years, like I've broken like many hearts because I truly really didn't let people in. I would date people and it would just go nowhere, and at the end of the day I wouldn't feel anything. I gotten to the point where I've built these high walls, and I truly didn't want to let anybody in. And I got to a point where I like seriously started dating, and I fell in love with this person, and that person at the time was dating someone else, and I was like what we now call the side. And I was introduced to the main at some point, and like I couldn't take this shit. I was like, no, fuck this shit. I ain't going to be the side to no one. Like, if you ain't gonna be with me, like, nah, I'm alright, I'm out. But it didn't really end that way. As I was busy with my exit plan, someone else came along, and someone else was also busy with the exit plan, and yeah, we decided to try things out. We ended things with the other two parties, and we started trying this thing out. And in the beginning we were like, nah, we just want to have fun, and the fun turned into something serious. And if I go back, I think on some level through the years I kind of manifested this person into my life, because I just listened to like a lot of music. There was a song back in the day, like Mary J. Blige with Real Love, where she was saying, I'm searching for real love, someone to set my heart free. And you know, all these love songs, there's Escape, they had a song of one of those love songs, Run to the One You Love, Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. And you would hear this beautiful music and you were like, one day I want that type of love. And somehow, maybe music fucks us up. Maybe it helps us to heal. But on some level, you kind of push the responsibility of love to another person because now you're looking for love in someone else when you're actually supposed to start with love inside yourself before you can actually love somebody else. And things didn't work out, but I truly love this person. And as I said, the thing is, like, I think on some level I truly was like, I thought I'll find the love I was supposed to have for me in someone else, which didn't really happen. Yes, love was there, but I think I was a bit too young, or a bit, you could say, immature, or I couldn't understand that type of love. I didn't know how to walk into the space or be in that space of that kind of love. And I had this stupid idea of, like, if you find the person, it will be happily ever after. If you find that person, you're going to be with that person for the longest. But we never take into account the challenges of life, the dynamics of a relationship. We never understand that a relationship is between two people, but there's also other people, and the two of you have to navigate the streets or everything. You two have to navigate life. You have to and find synergy and find something that works for both of y'all. And you also have to be on the same page. And if you guys don't get to that point, things tend not to work out. And sometimes you have to go your separate ways. Doesn't matter how it ends, just to find yourselves again. And if it happens that you'll find each other again, it happens. If not, it's life. We continue. But every relationship is here to teach us something. And I think this one also taught me to start, like, my journey to actually find a way to love myself more, work on my insecurities, work on my doubt, work on letting people in. And no matter how people would look at it, like, it's a relationship. Like, if some things don't work out, I think, like, both people messed up. It's never just the one. It's two people, and there's always three sides to the story. There's my side, that person's side, and the truth. And I held on to all the good things. Like, I am at that stage in my life where I don't care about the bad things anymore. Like, the good was really good, the bad was really bad, but I don't love that anymore. Because I've been on the journey to where I love, for finding a way to love myself. I can appreciate every single good moment, and that's a part of this Earth School, this journey where you have to learn to become a better version of yourself. And looking back, like, I ain't that person anymore. That version of me doesn't exist anymore. And truly, it was one of the relationships that really taught me to, like, help me to go fix the broken parts of me. And I'm still learning, but right now I'm a better version of myself. And what we tend to do is like, when something ends, we never give ourselves a break to heal, to process everything, because you didn't find the love you were looking for in a certain person, or things didn't work out. We tend to jump to the next relationship because we feel there's something better somewhere else, and we forget that the person you dated, it's a different person, and one you're starting a new relationship with is someone else, and the two people are not the same. And if you jump into the next relationship, you tend to compare things like, oh, this one did this for me, this one loved me this way, this one doesn't love me that way, and you find that the next relationship don't work out. Then you try again with someone else because you didn't give yourself a break to heal, and you find the same thing. And after that, I think I've dated a few other people until I found another person that I fell in love with again. But I've turned into such an asshole, and I truly love this other person, and something changed in me. I became this vicious person. Like, I know there was the nice side of me, but there was also the bad side of me, and the bad side of me, I didn't like that. And I came to the realization that, okay, Billy, if you really want to do this relationship thing, you need to like actually just stop dating totally. And I've done that, and then the work began. Like, before, I told myself like, I'm going to let go of this person, and I'm going to really start working on myself. I'm going to start with self-development. I'm going to learn as much as I can just to be a better person. And my journey began to actually truly find Billy, to find out who he is. I've learned to embrace all my sides. I'm both good and bad. It just depends which beast I'm feeding at that time. You also, when you get into a relationship, you don't realize that there's this side of you, like, you sometimes suppress it, but when when you guys start fighting, that side of you surfaces, and it's a side of you that you also have to embrace. That, like, if you are in a relationship, if you really love someone, that person has to see all your sides. That person has to embrace everything, your very good side and your very nasty side. They have to know, like, this person can, there's a switch that flips, and then this person can turn into a whole other person, and I have to understand that that's who they are, and you have to let them be so that they can go through that emotion and come back to you as you know them. So that's the dynamics of relationships. And to truly be in love with someone, and to truly be like in a relationship, you have to truly find yourself. You have to accept yourself. You have to take yourself as you are. And by the time you find the one, your soulmate or your twin flame, you'll be able to fully love that person, because you love yourself first, and you've accepted yourself first, and you've learned first how to manage yourself, your emotions, and everything else that comes with it. When you get to that point in your life, then I think you're ready to love. But some of my friends disagree with me. Like, some people tell me, nah, you're not ready to love again, you need to go for therapy, and blah 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 blah. I realize that because I'm in this certain industry, and I have to actually read a lot of stuff, I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I find that that's my therapy. And if I get a chance to produce shows, which I don't get to do anymore these days, I just get to approve content. Even in that content, I learn stuff. I learn, oh, okay, when we talk about relationship stuff, I'm like, oh, these are the dynamics of relationships. And there's this constant thing of you always learning, and I don't truly think you get to the point where you know everything. I think you just know enough, because we change as human beings, and even in a relationship, those two human beings that are together, they need to learn also, like they have to embrace change, because these two individuals are changing, and you have to accept that these changes are happening. And whichever way you look at it, it always returns back to the self. You have to always love yourself first before you can love somebody else. And yeah, if you say like, I'm looking for love, remember, the love you're actually looking for is the love inside yourself. And I remember when I was like still going through the healing process, my favorite singer Mary J. Blige released a song called Someone to Love Me. And the lyrics are, it's like looking for someone to love me. And somehow it sounds like I don't love myself enough, so now I have to look for somebody to love me. And that person that you're actually looking for, I believe, is yourself. Because when you learn how to love yourself, you truly learn how to love others. So as I said, those who are listening on Spotify, I hope you enjoy the next song. And in your journey of finding that dope relationship, I hope you start with yourself first and love yourself first, because that's where it starts. So this is looking for someone to love me. And as we continue on our journey through life, sometimes you need to be by yourself to actually discover yourself. And that's actually a good thing, because you truly start falling in love with you, the real you, the you at the core, the you where everything starts from. And that was the best things that ever happened to me. Like just learning to love myself, learning to put myself first, learning to keep my cup full. And I'm still doing it today, because I've realized in this world, not everybody has good intentions for you. Some people are just out here to use you. There are a few people that want you to win in life, but there are those who want to use you, and you'll never truly understand their true intentions until you actually have spent time with them. You start learning their manners, how they act, and it's always the case when people start acting a bit different, then you know something is up. And you can only arrive at that point if you start loving yourself and you start putting yourself first. When you start saying no, because some people think you will say yes all the time, and the minute you start saying no, people say you've changed, but change is good anyway. So that's how you learn that who you really need in your life and who you don't. And it's good to outgrow people. Like, not everybody is meant to be in our lives, and that's just a fact. But remember, on your journey to discovering yourself, and when you actually start loving yourself, you always have to put yourself first. You need to keep your cup full, and do not allow people to empty your cup. Remember, what's in your cup is for you, and what overflows is for everyone else. And you have to always keep your cup full. Put yourself first. that's what I'm doing right now. If I feel people are going to add value in my life, I want them in my life, and I make time for people. If I tell somebody I want to hang with you, that's like my true intention. I want to hang with you. I don't tell people like, yeah, we should hang one day, because I think on some level it's just a lie we tell people because we trying to be nice, and that turns out to be a lie in the end. So if you truly want to spend time with people, don't say, yeah, we'll do it then, we'll do it some other time. If you say, yeah, let's hang out with people, but people that actually care about you, care about your well-being, and not people that just want to use you or suck up your energy and stuff like that. Because you have to protect your energy. You have to be cautious of the stuff people say around you, because we're all energy beings, and if people drain your energy, they actually draining your life force. So you have to protect it at all costs. That's when you truly love yourself, when you truly put yourself first. And remember, you have to love yourself before you can love somebody else, because not everybody wants to see you win. And always remember, keep your enemies close. And as we navigate the streets they call life, we have to learn to interact with other people and still putting yourself first. And as always, it starts with you. If you let your own light shine, other people would see that, and it will also allow them to let their own light shine. I want to share something by Marianne Williamson from a book called A Return to Love, and it's called Our Deepest Fear. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frighten us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Isn't that just beautiful? That's from A Return to Love. And then there's another quote I want to share from the late Nelson Mandela. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. People must learn to hate, and if they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than the opposite. Isn't that just beautiful? Yeah, so even in my workplace or wherever I interact, I always make sure I actually put myself first. And that also shows other people boundaries and stuff like that, so they know what not to cross. You have to, by all means, put yourself first. Life's a teacher, and time is a healer. And that's another episode of Figuring It Out with Billy Arendt. Love yourself. I hope you have enjoyed this journey with me. Remember, this podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, and anywhere you find podcast. You can also find me on social media platforms. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I am at Billy Arendt, ZA. Namaste.